So at Texas State University, located in San Marcos, which is, I believe, between here in Austin and San Antonio, there's a university called Texas State University. I had no idea. Now, there's universities all over Texas, and this one has almost 40,000 students. So this is a pretty big deal. You know, that's a big campus. Well, it turns out the federal government looked into their Clery Act reportage and determined that the number of rapes and sexual assaults that were reported, it was underreported by 30 over a 2-year period. So what this college reported was 8 reported rapes on their campus or within their jurisdiction, when in fact it was 38. Okay? Now this is a big deal because the Clery Act, under federal law, colleges must report all instances of crime on their campuses, whether it was reported to them or not. So they have to work with the local police and all of that other stuff. And what Texas State University is saying is, look, we had a reporting system that was effed up somehow, and we're sorry, here's the real number, and we're going to fix our system to make sure we get the correct numbers. Because it's federal law, and under federal law, the school can be fined a whole ton of money for every report that isn't reported to the federal government. So clearly they got to do a better job. There's no question about that. And there's a bunch of other schools around the country that are having the same problem, that need to get their poop in a group and report this stuff as it should be reported to the Clery Act. Now, you might say, what is the Clery Act? It's named after a young woman who was raped and murdered in her dorm room in somewhere in the mid-'80s. And so it's named after her, and all schools have to report all crime, whether it happens on campus or not. If it affects their campus, if it's reported on campus, doesn't matter. They got to report it. And this is the second part of the story that a lot of people have no freaking idea. You probably never even heard of the Clery Act. Why do you think that is? On the rare occasions you hear the Clery Act, but of course it's because the Clery Act is obviously underreporting the number of rapes on campus. Because as everyone knows, 20% of college students, females, will be raped on campus. We know it's an epidemic. College rape epidemic. It's the rape culture. Blame men, so on and so forth. Feminists agree. No. It's 20%. That's the number from a study in 1994 from Mary Koss, which has been repeatedly debunked for their methodology. I'll try to put a link below so you can read up on it. Just like all or a lot of the other mythology of feminism, such as women are paid less for the same job and teachers are low paid, there obviously is a campus rape epidemic because 20% of female students will be raped on campus. So let's look at this report from Texas State University in San Marcos. There were 38 reports of rape or sexual assault. Now they conflate the two, and I believe the category is only called rape. So let's just go with that. 38 reports of rape on the campus of Texas State University over 2 years. So of course the average would be 19. Let's go on ahead, and we'll take the assumption the feminists make that 90% of women who are raped never report it, which is not credible in my mind. I don't believe that. But let's go with that for now, because that's what the feminists like to say. So let's do some quick math and round it up to 100. So instead of 19, which we know of, we'll say it's 100 because 80 of those women didn't report. The campus has a population of around 38,000, 23,000-ish or so would be female. You can do the calculation. The percentage of women raped or reporting a rape on the campus of Texas State University, 0.4%. Using the feminist fantasy of the 90% not report. 0.4% per year. That is not 5% of the college campus. That's under 1%. Is it a problem? Yes. I don't think anyone can argue it's not a problem. Obviously, men and women shouldn't have to, deal with, sexual violence or violence of any. It's college, right? You shouldn't have to put up with that in your life. It's unfortunate when it happens. But my point is contrasting what everyone knows and what the best data that we have is actually happening. So when feminists say, well, it's 5% per year or 20% over 4 years, we have actual data In this case, Texas State University revised. The actual number of reports, 19. I'm giving feminists the benefit of the doubt with their fantasy that all these women are not reporting being raped. And even then, 0.4%. Using the 19 number, it's 0.06%. So what happens when reality interferes with the mythology of feminism? Well, of course, feminists say reality isn't real. What we feel in our fantasy world is real. So you must be underreporting. It is a college rape campus rape culture that's preventing all of these women from reporting. Let's take your number, feminists. 90% don't. That's 100. That's 0.4% per year on the campus of Texas State University. They're relying on a flawed study, and that's their expectation. It's got to be 20%. And when it's not, here's a host of reasons. Here's a cornucopia of things why women don't call the police when they're assaulted and raped. But even using all of these excuses, you still get nowhere near 5%, which would be, 1,200 women at Texas State would have to be assaulted or raped, or at least reported. And at the farthest end of the fantasy world of feminism, it's 100. I'll put all the links below so you can read it yourself. James Maxwell, thank you for listening.